A man drops out of school at 16. Decades later, he owns a private island, flies to the edge of space in his own rocket plane, and runs a business empire spanning airlines, music, telecom, and health. This is the story of one of the most flamboyant fortunes on the planet. He was diagnosed with dyslexia as a child and struggled in a traditional classroom. Teachers told him he would either end up in prison or become a millionaire. He chose the second path, launching a magazine called Student as a teenager, then pivoting into mail-order records, and eventually opening a small record shop on Oxford Street in London. That shop became a label. That label signed acts that would define a generation. And that label became the seed of a brand that would eventually stretch across more than 400 companies worldwide.
The name on all of them is Virgin, chosen because he and his early partners were, in his words, complete beginners at business. That sense of humor never left him, even as the empire grew into airlines, mobile networks, health clubs, hotels, wine, banking, and eventually private spaceflight. Along the way, the man became one of the most recognizable faces in global business, a billionaire who prefers turtlenecks and denim to boardroom suits. At the center of his personal world sits a piece of paradise in the British Virgin Islands. He purchased the island for a fraction of its later value, back when it was undeveloped and largely ignored. Over the years, he transformed it into a private retreat with a great house perched on the highest point, thatched roofs, open-air living spaces, and views that stretch across turquoise water in every direction. The estate can host dozens of guests at a time, and it has welcomed royalty, rock stars, presidents, and Olympic athletes. Guests eat meals prepared by private chefs, swim in infinity pools carved into rock, and wander through gardens filled with flamingos, lemurs, and tortoises that were introduced to the island as part of a broader conservation project. The island is not just a vacation home. It functions as a retreat center, a wellness destination, and a business hub all at once. Meetings happen on the beach as often as in a conference room. Major deals have reportedly been struck over breakfast on the terrace, with staff nearby ready to fetch documents or dial in investors on short notice. The philosophy is simple. Work should not feel separate from life, and life should not feel separate from the ocean. Getting around this world requires more than commercial flights. For decades, private aircraft have carried him between continents, timed around meetings, family events, and the countless public appearances that come with running a global brand. Yachts and catamarans move between islands in the Caribbean, some used for personal relaxation, and others rented out to guests seeking their own taste of that same lifestyle. Kitesurfing became something of a signature activity, and he has been photographed gliding across the waves off his island more times than almost any other billionaire on record. Adventure, in fact, is inseparable from the brand. He has crossed oceans in hot air balloons, attempted transatlantic speedboat records, and skydived to celebrate milestone birthdays. Where other billionaires guard their image with caution, he leaned into stunts, publicity chases, and physical risk as part of the marketing itself. Every daring crossing became a headline, and every headline became free advertising for the airline, the mobile network, or whichever venture needed attention that year. That appetite for spectacle eventually pointed upward. For close to 2 decades, engineers under his direction worked on a space plane capable of carrying passengers past the boundary of space and back. In 2021, he finally strapped in himself, beating a rival billionaire's own spaceflight by mere days, and rode that vehicle above the clouds long enough to experience weightlessness and see the curvature of the Earth before gliding back to a runway landing. It was equal parts scientific milestone and personal triumph, the culmination of a lifetime spent chasing the next frontier. Back on solid ground, daily life still carries traces of that same restless energy. Mornings often begin with exercise, whether that means a swim in open water, a game of tennis, or an early kitesurfing session before the wind picks up. Business calls and emails get folded around physical activity rather than replacing it.
a habit he has credited for decades of high output, despite a schedule that would exhaust most executives half his age. The properties extend beyond the private island. There is a chalet in the Swiss Alps favored for skiing holidays, a country estate in England used for both family gatherings and corporate retreats, and various smaller residences scattered across the properties owned by his hospitality ventures. Fine wine from a vineyard bearing the family name, a fleet of vintage and modern cars, and a wardrobe built almost entirely around comfort rather than formality round out a lifestyle that reads more like an extended adventure vacation than a typical corporate existence. Yet, for all the glamour, the fortune has not been without turbulence. Airlines have gone through bankruptcies and bailouts, deals have collapsed, and critics have pointed to tax structures and offshore arrangements tied to the island lifestyle itself. His net worth has swung by billions during economic downturns, particularly when travel and tourism ventures took the hit during global disruptions. Still, the brand endures, propped up by decades of goodwill, relentless reinvention, and a personal story that continues to fascinate the public.
The social calendar tied to the island lifestyle is its own kind of spectacle. Themed parties have brought fancy dress, live bands, and fireworks to the Great House Terrace, with guest lists mixing musicians, athletes, and fellow entrepreneurs who fly in for a weekend and leave with stories they tell for years. Weddings have been hosted there for family and friends, complete with beach ceremonies and reception tents strung with lights above the water. Documentary crews and reality television productions have used the island as a backdrop, further cementing its status as shorthand for a certain kind of unreachable luxury. Philanthropy runs alongside the excess, at least on paper. Ocean conservation, renewable energy, and a foundation focused on entrepreneurship and environmental causes have absorbed significant time and money over the years. Public pledges to donate large shares of future profits toward climate initiatives have drawn both praise and skepticism, with critics noting the gap between stated intentions and measurable results.
The next chapter is already being written. Additional space flights, an expanded island guest capacity, and new health and wellness ventures are reportedly in motion, each designed to extend a brand built on the idea that ordinary limits do not apply. Family members have taken on larger roles inside the businesses, suggesting an empire built to outlast its founder. Whether viewed as a visionary entrepreneur or a master of self-promotion, the lifestyle built around one private island, one spaceplane, and one very recognizable smile remains among the most studied case files in modern wealth. It is a life engineered around adventure first and business second, or perhaps a life where the two were never really separate at all.